This is one-way traffic. Canelo Alvarez is returning to the ring next month against William Scull in a kind of tune-up leading up to a mega fight against Terrence Bud Crawford. So this is why Canelo vs Scull will not be close.
And by the way, we're Punch Talk and bringing you daily combat sports videos, so if you enjoy the content, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to help support the channel. So it's well known by now that Canelo Alvarez is in multiple deals to fight with Saudi Arabia and is lined up to have a massive fight against Terrence Crawford in September. But leading up to that, he's having his tune-up fight in Saudi against William Scull. And this is going to be a unification for the titles in order for Canelo to reclaim undisputed at super middleweight. William Scull isn't very well known currently, but he's 23-0 and this is going to be his massive opportunity to fight an all-time great in Canelo Alvarez, and many people are viewing this for Canelo as kind of just an easy fight. This is really just a warm-up fight in order to have that massive Terrence Crawford fight in the future. And William Scull is very much getting overlooked, and in a way rightfully so, as this is Canelo Alvarez we're talking about, previous undisputed, one of the all-time greats and greatest of this generation. And William Scull really hasn't fought any top competition. His latest fight against Vladimir Shishkin, it was a close fight. He did win on decision. This was his hardest test to date, but he managed to claim the IBF World Championship. But this fight against Canelo is definitely going to be a huge change in direction. It's going to be a massive jump for him. And for Canelo, this is a must win to get that Crawford fight underway.
Yeah, honestly, on paper, there's a reason why Canelo Alvarez is so heavily favored, and most people think he's going to win this fight because so far at super middleweight, he's kind of held the throne for a couple years now since he went on that run in 2021, beating the likes of Billy Joe Saunders, Avni Yildirim, and Caleb Plant back to back, getting the undisputed status at super middleweight, and he's fought a lot of bigger guys. The one thing William Scull definitely has over Canelo is that size. We saw in their face-off at their press conference how much bigger of a guy William Scull is, even though on paper it seems like he's only 5'11", maybe 6 feet tall, but against Canelo he looks way bigger than that. He looks like 6'2", 6'3". I mean, when you're looking at Dimitri Bivol face off with Canelo Alvarez, who is actually 6 foot on paper, he looks a little bit closer in size to William Scull, so it seems like he definitely has that size advantage. But again, Canelo's broken down bigger guys like that before, the Callum Smiths of the world, etc. He's generally a smaller guy than most of his opponents. He's a shorter, stockier guy who will break you down, break you as the rounds go down, and he's fought a lot of these up and coming undefeated guys before and just broke them down, took their undefeated records, and on paper they may be as good if not better than William Scull is. William Scull is around the same age as Canelo. Then again, Canelo does have a lot of mileage. He's been fighting as a pro since 15 years old, having fights in Mexico, was in the big time fight since he was 23, fighting the likes of Floyd Mayweather. So he's been at the top for so long now, but it just doesn't seem like he's gonna be losing anytime soon, at least against this level of opposition. It's not like even William Scull has the most threat with his hands and the knockout power. He only has a 39% knockout ratio in his 23 fights, 9 KOs. Compare that to Canelo, who has a 63% knockout ratio and generally has been fighting much tougher opposition throughout his career. Obviously, a lot of those early fights were against lower level opposition, but still, we know Canelo has the power. He got the pop over William Scull. So what danger does Scull bring to the ring? It's not like he's such a young guy and he has so many tools and has the knockout threat. I feel like to beat Canelo, you either have to have that danger or you got to be a very disciplined, straightforward boxer like Dimitri Bivol, who's a little bit bigger than Canelo, who can box, who can move, who can stay disciplined, who can just stay to one game plan. And so far from William Scull's fights in his career, we haven't necessarily seen that, and his defense definitely hasn't looked up to par for what you would want to see in a guy going up against Canelo.
Yeah, William Scull from his previous fights seems to have a very front-forward approach, is very aggressive, throws some different combinations. He has a solid uppercut and can throw some powerful shots in there, but it does leave him open a bit to counters. He's been hurt before with some different shots, and although he does seem to have some decent offense, the defense might be a big hole that Canelo is definitely going to be able to capitalize just because of his experience of doing it to, on paper, better guys, more acclaimed guys who have actually held multiple belts across different divisions. He's gone up in divisions and has fought bigger guys. But again, it does lean into has William Scull's style and how his offense and his defense has looked against someone on Canelo's level. It's just a big difference when you're fighting the lower level to someone that's been there at the top for so many years, going 12 rounds every single time. and it's going to be a massive test for him, but on the other hand, a huge opportunity to break out into boxing, being paid well on the Saudi card most likely, and his chance to disrupt the boxing world, mess up the super fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford, and it's for sure going to be a big test for the Cuban, and I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to do it. Another factor of it as well is some of the lower level guys that he does beat, he doesn't even necessarily destroy them or easily beat them. Him only having 9 KOs in 23 fights. Of course, some styles of fighters are not going to be knocking out everyone, but he does have that approach where he's very aggressive. He's going all out on the offense, throwing multiple different shots at a time. And if he's not able to get out of there, some of those lower level guys, what chance does he really have against Canelo? Someone who's going to wear him down, who might take off some of the earlier rounds, work his way into the fight, break down William Scull, always coming forward, throwing to the body, throwing to the head, as Canelo does, and being able to outlast him. Although Canelo hasn't really finished anyone in his last couple of fights, but typically we've seen him at least drop his opponents, and if what we think currently on paper, Canelo should be able to get William Scull out of there, and if this fight against Terence Crawford coming up is going to be big, he's going to have to make it look fairly simple and easy.
Yeah, Canelo needs to put on a statement here. He's looking to get those undisputed titles back in his possession. And like you said, it's been a while since Canelo has really knocked out and put damage on his opponents. His last knockout was against Caleb Plant in 2021. So that's about 4 years ago now. It's been a while since Canelo has stopped someone, but he's been fighting high-level guys. William Scull has never lost. He doesn't know what it's like to lose, but then again, neither did Edgar Berlanga, neither did Jaime Munguia, neither did Caleb Plant, neither did Billy Joe Saunders, and he took the O off of all those guys in the last couple of years. And yes, Canelo has 2 losses in his career, but those are against some of the best pound for pound boxers of the last couple generations, Floyd Mayweather and Dimitri Bivol, who are pound for pound talents. Dimitri Bivol right now the undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, beating Beterbiev in their rematch, so we know how good he is. And is William Scull on that same level? Is he going to be able to cause that upset in Canelo's own division at super middleweight where he's been reigning for years? I just don't see it. I don't feel like he possesses any new problems for Canelo, nothing he hasn't seen before, so I don't see how he gets this one done. Honestly, I feel like Canelo's going to start wearing him down, maybe even stop him get his first knockout since 2021. I feel like that's a potential here, but if not, I still see this being relatively one-sided. Even though people have been saying Canelo hasn't looked the greatest in the last couple years, he hasn't looked like that same guy, I still think it is enough to decisively beat a guy on William Scull's caliber. But who knows? This is the first time he's stepping up majorly in competition, so it's going to be a massive step up. But also, sometimes people on that massive step up and rise under the big event. So maybe William Scull will be one of those guys. Maybe he'll perform and have his career best performance on this night. I just don't see even a career best performance from William Scull being enough to dethrone the super middleweight kingpin Canelo Alvarez. But let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Who wins between Canelo and Scull? But if you guys enjoyed and want to see more of Canelo, check out the video on screen on the night Canelo Alvarez got humbled.